And we are back again with another lesson. Today we're looking at our lesson 515 on volumes of pyramids and cones. We've worked with volume with prisms and cylinders, so I'm hoping you remember that yes, volume is the number of cubic units to fill that given space inside a three-dimensional figure. So again, filling that inside area is what we're talking about with volume. Now remember, there are some parts of our three-dimensional figure. Our base, especially with prisms and cylinders, have two bases, top and a bottom, where again on a pyramid or a cone, you only have one base. And again, just like we talked about when we worked with our prisms and cylinders, height is the distance between the two bases on a prism or cylinder. Otherwise, it's from that apex down to the base on our our cones or our pyramids. So I'm just reviewing that nice little formula when we talked about our prisms and cylinders. And if you remember, we had that formula of our volume was the base area times the height, where you had to find the area of the base, whatever shape that might have been, and then we multiplied that by the height of our three-dimensional figure. And that's how we found the volume. But if you look at the difference between a prism and cylinder compared to a pyramid or cone, you can see it's not all open inside. It comes and squishes in from that base all the way to the top, so it definitely should be a smaller amount of volume inside. So our formula will change just a bit. If you look at it, the volume, or V, of a pyramid or cone is actually 1/3 that area of the base times the height. So that 1/3, otherwise, the other part of the formula is exactly the same with a pyramid or a cylinder or with our prisms. So we are still going to take our area of our base, whatever shape that might be. We will still multiply it by the height. The only difference is, again, from the apex down to the base, our height, for a pyramid or a cone. And then you're going to take 1/3 of that. So if I'm asking you to find the volume, I'm telling you some steps to show your work. Writing the formula. So the volume is 1/3 the base area times the height. Now if you look at this shape right here, you can see our area is a rectangle or a square. So how do we find the area of a rectangle or a square? That base times height. Our base area is 4 times 4. Remember, the height is from that apex down to the base. The height is 12. And we're keeping that 1/3 because, again, it is a pyramid. Now, don't change that to a decimal. Don't do 0.333 or bar over it. Keep it as 1/3 so you can just divide by 3 at the end. So now we're going to go ahead and multiply those numbers. Again, like I said, 1/3 times 16 times our 12. Now remember, you can do some cross-canceling to make my life a little easier. 3 doesn't go into 16, but 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 16 times 4, well, that's 64. And again, cubic inches, so our feet cubed. Let's try it again, but looking at a cone. Same exact formula. 1/3 the base area times the height. And finding now that base area. Remember, that's our circle. And I put all the formulas over here for you. That our circle for the base, or for area of a circle, is pi r squared. So when I'm putting that in, pi, you know, is 3.14. Your radius, remember, this says your diameter. Radius is half of that. Half of 6 is 3. So 3 squared is that area. And then, of course, times the height from the apex down to the base. Your height would be 10. And when you're finished, you will take 1/3 of that amount. Well, let's go ahead and do some work here. 1/3, and I still have my 3.14, but 3 squared is 9 times that 10. The reason I did that is because I realized I could do some cross-canceling again. 3 goes into 9 3 times. Then I can go ahead and just multiply 3.14 times 3, or I could do 3 times 10 and get 30. Again, commutative property of multiplication says it doesn't matter about the order. But that would give me 9.42 times 10, which I can do in my head, 94.2, and again, cubic units. So very similar to our volume with our prisms and our cylinders. But again, since it's not nice and open and it all comes to that apex, it's 1/3. If you have any questions, you can email or you can bring them to class and we will go over those. I will see you later.